What's up, fight fans? We're back at it with another edition of Round 1 Sports TV. Hey, let's talk about it. I thought I would make a little reaction to the UFC fight for all my UFC heads out there. So real quick, I'm going to make a short video. Now, I'm about to say some controversial shit in this video. And quickly, I know that if you hear what I'm about to say, you're going to go, oh, this guy don't know what he's talking about. You'll probably click away. But I promise you, if you hear this video in its entirety, then if you would like to comment on it, then comment on it, okay? But just hear me out. It's all I'm asking. So without further ado, let's get right into the video. UFC kicked off UFC 294, 296, was it, last night? And Khamzat Chimaev went up against Usman on 10 days notice, 12 days notice, whatever it was. And Alexander Volkanovski went against Nurmagomedov on 10 days notice as well. Now, I gave my prediction to these fights, and I told you to take the guys with the more, that had the better training camp, right? And if you did that, you won. But quickly, when I woke up this morning, everybody was all over social media giving Khamzat Chimaev all these praises and saying how close the fight kind of was, and that Khamzat Chimaev is an elite fighter, and so forth and so forth. Now, I have a different view on that. I believe that Khamzat Chimaev was exposed last night. And hear me out and hear why. Okay, first of all, they're saying they're hyping him up. You know, he's not considered a hype job under the sense that he doesn't have any skills, but he's considered a hype job on the sense that he's only fought in the UFC a handful of times. That's it. We've seen this before. Okay, everybody that's captivated in the moment needs to pump their brakes. I seen Tony Ferguson go on a 12-run winning streak. I've seen many fighters in the UFC go on much better winning streaks. Okay, first of all, Khamzat Chimaev has never fought for a world title. He's never competed against anybody for a world title, won one. Okay, he hasn't really steadily fought anyone basically in his division consistently. He's had people move up. He's moved down. You know, he's not fighting anybody in his bracket is what I'm saying. Now, all of a sudden, Khamzat Chimaev comes into the UFC, and he's such a dominant force, according to Dana White and all the UFC. If I had $1 for every time Dana White said he's never seen a fighter like this before, I'd buy myself a mansion. Okay, I've heard that 100 times before, thousands of times. Now, Khamzat Chimaev comes into the UFC, right? And he was a dominant force. No one was getting out the first 2 rounds with him, blah, 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 etc., etc. The minute you put him up against top tier, elite competition, all of a sudden those knockouts go out the window. No more submissions. They're all going decisions now. But he's this elite, superior fighter. He went to war with Gilbert Burns. Gilbert Burns gave him more than enough. Okay? Had Gilbert Burns turned it up in that 3rd round like he did in the last 35 seconds in the round, that's the problem. He turned it up in the last 35 seconds. Same thing with Usman. I called that fight, and I thought that fight was going to be a 5-round fight because of the fact that it was a co-main event. The UFC is so much protecting this guy that they made a co-main event for a title eliminator, a 3-rounder? Khamzat Chimaev has no 5-round experience, and I mean none. The toughest thing he's ever been is twice he's been to the 3rd round in his entire career in the UFC. Had that fight been a 5-round fight, Usman beats him for my money. Khamzat looked gassed to me, right? And all that wrestling, look, in the 1st round, according to the UFC, they gave Khamzat Chimaev a 10-8 round, which I kind of find that to be, you know, as a fighter, I find that to be hard to do when you didn't do anything to him. You had 4 minutes and I think it was 30-something seconds ground control. That's all he did. Ground control. No damage. In fact, the best damaging shot in round 1 was done by Usman. The hardest shot in round 1 was done by Usman. When he picked him up, he had him on his back, and Usman flipped forward. and bashed his head against the canvas, yo, he was stunned. Khamzat Chimaev was stunned. It took him about a second and a half, almost 2 seconds, to get his wits about himself. And Usman was coming off the choke. He was trying to catch his breath. Okay? The best shot, if the UFC is categorizing the rounds conflicted by damage, their point system is based off damage. The most damaging shot in round 1 was done by Usman. Now, I understand that Khamzat Chimaev had ground control. Yeah, he had ground control. But when Usman got up to go to the second round, he was walking to his corner. He didn't have a scratch on his face. Nothing. He did no damage. Okay? So then round 2 comes out. Okay? Now, I understand what Usman said after the fight in the post-fight interviews. He said, you know, he was pacing himself, you know, a minor calculation on his part because he's always used to fighting 5-round fights, you know, and he really stepped it up in the 3rd round, right? Had he came out in the 2nd round like he did in the 3rd round and then followed that up in the 3rd round, I think we would be having a different conversation today, okay? And that iffy 10 round in the beginning of the fight, you know, to give him a 10 round, okay, you controlled him on the ground, but you gotta do something with that. You have to do something. And at the end of that 3rd round, when Khamzat Chimaev got Kamaru Usman down, and he got him down on that takedown, you know, I was watching the fight. Kamaru Usman held him in that position. He didn't even basically get out of that. He finally got out of it, got one arm out, and threw a shot that Kamaru actually blocked. So where is, you know, the take? Okay, a takedown, and then that takedown in particular, like, who initiated it? It kind of looked like Kamaru took him down, you know? So it's basically, they're judging it by, like, maybe he took him down or that. It has to be a rule in the UFC where that if you take someone down, you have to apply damage. That has to be established. Because a takedown, you know, winning a fight, taking somebody down like Khabib used to do back in the day, Khabib used to take dudes down and maul them on the ground and brutalize them, okay? That's a takedown. That's the kind of takedown he should be doing, you know? Not a kind of takedown where, if you want to flip that quarter to the other side, I kind of give Usman props for defending all those submission attempts from Khamzat Chimaev. Did he not finish Usman? Was he on Usman's back several times in that 1st round and he couldn't finish a 37-year-old man that was a former world champion coming off of 2 losses? But yet Khamzat Chimaev is supposed to be the best next thing since sliced bread? But when he steps up in his level of competition, he goes the distance not once but twice? No more knockouts, no more submissions. Where's this fucking beast you guys are talking about? Now, I'm gonna keep it funky and I'm gonna keep it real right now. Khamzat Chimaev is a problem. And you better beat him now when he's not 5 rounds ready yet. You need to catch him right now. Because if they allow that man to get any better than what he is, they might not stop him. They might not stop him. His will, his determination, and his skills. Oh, he has skills. The man has skills. The man has power. The man is very, very highly, he has good ring IQ, okay? He's very aggressive, okay? He's what you want in a UFC fighter and then some. Yes, he is, Khamzat Chimaev, yes. But he's not where they're advertising him at. He's not John Jones status. They're talking about him like he's up there with John Jones. Like he's up there with some of the greats with no belt. With no belt. Just like they talked up Alex Pereira, right? With only 4 fights in the UFC. All of a sudden he beats the style bender. He's the best welterweight champion in the world. Middleweight champion. I mean, come on. 5 fights in the UFC. Alex Pereira was the next best thing since sliced bread, according to Dana White. Then he loses, right? And now they're putting him in a position to fight in the 205 where he initially belonged. I believe he should have went there first because he looked real weight drained against Adesanya, right? But anyway, I'm just saying that I didn't see it the way these people are saying it. I believe a lot of people, UFC heads, are caught in the moment and they're just doing copy, print, repeat. You know, I've heard a lot of people this morning get up and talk about Khamzat Chimaev and his performance and everything, and a lot of ass kissing going around in the UFC. A lot of people have to read off prompt monitors, and they're bound by that. I'm not bound by that. I'm not hired by anybody. I'm not promised a job, and I'm not trying to get in anybody's good graces. So that's why a lot of these people are saying what they're saying about Khamzat Chimaev. Since I can speak freely, okay, and tell the people exactly what's going on, okay? Although the guy is good, don't get me wrong, Khamzat Chimaev is a dog, okay? He's just not the type of dog they're advertising him to be. He still has a lot of work to go. He needs to improve in certain areas, okay? But look, did he beat Kamaru Usman last night? Yeah, he beat him. He beat him. I can't take that away. The judges saw what they saw. I don't know what people saw. Khamzat Chimaev winning the 3rd round. There's no way on God's green earth he won that 3rd round. There's no way on God's green earth he won the 2nd round. There's no way. He won neither of those rounds. And I dare any of you to go back and watch those rounds, right? What Khamzat did in the 3rd round, he did it late. For over 2 minutes and 30 seconds, 3 minutes of the round, Kamaru was winning all exchanges. And he was punching him in his face repeatedly. And then on a takedown that wasn't really considered a takedown, that Kamaru Usman defended. So at what point do you get credit for defending takedowns? How many times did Kamaru Usman step back and make him look silly for attempting a takedown on Kamaru Usman? Kamaru Usman stuffed his takedowns numerous times. He had him looking slow. Khamzat Chimaev was looking lost at some points in that fight. And Usman proved that he was a better wrestler. Because if he wasn't a better wrestler, Khamzat Chimaev should have finished him. Usman proved to him, you got on my back and couldn't finish me. If the roles were reversed and Usman got on his back, that's what I would like to see. Usman needed to get on his back, and let's see what he does when Usman's on his back. Because as we can see from last night, the world saw, when Khamzat Chimaev got your back against Usman, it ain't gonna work. Usman proved he's still that dude. And at 36 years old, he's still got enough wrestling experience and knowledge and IQ on the ground. You weren't going to finish him. You weren't going to finish him. And on the stand-up, Khamzat Chimaev was a step behind Usman in the hands. So, you know, although Khamzat Chimaev is, he's good. He's really, really, really good. He's really good for the amount of fights he's had in the UFC and the kind of fighters he's been fighting at the tail end right now, the last 2 fighters. Now, those were fighters. You know, Gilbert Burns is a dog, okay? And Usman walked through him. He didn't walk through him, but, you know, he put him down, okay? And then they put him against Usman, and Khamzat Chimaev came up with this kind of performance. After the fight, he's going to say he broke his hand type shit. Bro, I dare you. I freaking double dog dare you. Show me in the first round where he broke his hand at. Where? Where did he break his hand? When he was going back to his corner in the first round, fighters, when they usually break their hand, they either give their hand a little shake or they let their corner know, or, you know, they start grabbing the glove, trying to fix it. None of that from him. He indicated no at no point in the first round, coming out in the second round, or leading into the third round that his hand was hurt. In fact, in the second round, when he was trying to take a break from all that wrestling, he exchanged it quite a few times and threw that same hand with power and conviction behind it in the second round. He just didn't land it. Okay? There was nothing wrong with that man's hand. You know? He just wants to give... He knows inside he gave a lackluster performance and he could not finish Kamaru Usman. He couldn't do it. You know, Kamaru Usman is still showing at 36 years old. He still got it. And that just goes to show you that he's 30, almost 40 years old. And if this guy is such a phenom, why isn't he finish a 36-year-old man that's coming off 2 losses consecutively? Hey, but anyway, what do I know? You know, but I'll tell you what, here at Round One Sports Talk, I will keep it real with you, and I'm gonna report exactly what I saw, and that's exactly what I saw. It was a good fight. It was a competitive fight, and if the fight would have been a draw, I wouldn't have been mad. In fact, coming into the third round, I thought it was going to be a draw because I said to myself, when they announced that, you know, they'd say, oh, that's the third and final round. I was like, what? The third and final round? Had this been a 5-round fight? I'm trying to tell you, if this was a 5-round fight, Kamaru Usman was ready. He was ready to go another 2 rounds. He had another 2. Did Khamzat Chimaev have another 2 rounds in him? Be honest. Be honest. After that third round, he was gassed. He was done. Give him the 4th round going in like that. Come into the 5th round like that. Yo, Kamaru Usman, I told you if it was a 5th round fight, it would have been Kamaru Usman's fight in my prediction. And now in my reaction, I'm a little upset that it wasn't a 5-round fight because we would have saw Khamzat Chimaev get exposed on the world stage if it was a 5-round fight. I know that for a fact. Kamaru Usman knows that for a fact. Dana White knows that for a fact. And I hope the rest of you guys know that for a fact. And if you're saying, and you agree with me, that if it was a 5-round fight, Usman could have won that fight, then how the fuck are you saying that Khamzat Chimaev is that ultimate dude? How are you saying that he's just the best in the world, the most elite of the elite fighters, that he's going to beat everybody, but you're taking away from the fact that if it was a 5-round fight, he would have lost? That's what I'm saying. So I don't think he's ready for maintaining a title, going 5 rounds with elite competition, if he can't finish them. You know, if he knocks the guy out or submits the guy, well, then you don't need the 5 rounds, right? But it seems like when you put him against elite competition that will give him trouble, there's holes in his game. You know, he comes in, he gets caught with big shots. He has an iron chin. Khamzat Chimaev can take a punch, okay? So when you put him up against elite competition so far, okay, and let's just keep this in mind. Let's keep this in mind. That the 2 fighters that gave him the most problem, both of them moved up in weight to fight him. Okay? They didn't fight him in his original... You know what I'm saying? So, he's not fighting anybody in his division. You know, do we got another Canelo Alvarez here? What's going on? You see, so I just want to bring some of these facts to the light. That I'm not shitting on Khamzat Chimaev. And I'm not selling you that he's not a good fighter. I haven't said that. Okay? In fact, he is a great fighter. Okay? He's just not John Jones material. The way they're talking him up. He ain't on that level. Okay? You know, so, you know, and as far as accomplishments go, he's not on Usman's level. All right? But if you let Dana White in the UFC have a crack at it and talk it up, oh my God, he's the best to ever do it. So just be careful with that, okay? You might get surprised because they've been feeding him this to you for a very long time, and a lot of people do get captivated in the moments. And just like the last style bender, you know, I was talking with one of my friends, and he was saying to me, the last style bender is just the best fighter, middleweight champion the UFC has ever had, and he lost to Strickland, but he'll be back and he'll get his belt. And I looked at him and I said to him, how are you saying that Israel Adesanya is the best middleweight that UFC's ever had? And he goes, well, look at everybody he beat. Look at what he's done. And I said, you know, let the last style bender go up against Khamzat Chimaev. Khamzat Chimaev is going to take the style bender down to the ground, and the last style bender would have been exposed for the wrestler he's not. You guys keep talking about the last style bender like he's a complete fighter. His stand-up is phenomenal, and he moves exceptionally well. And since he never goes to the ground, you forget that that's part of the UFC. And we all forget when he went up to 205 and he got brought down to the ground by a guy that was on the feet, very less skilled than Israel Adesanya, and he just looked lost on the ground. Let Khamzat Chimaev take Israel Adesanya down to the ground. Let Khamzat Chimaev get on Izzy's back like he did to Kamaru Usman, and Izzy will not be a champion. You know, if he would have fought him before Strickland did. You know, I'm just trying to tell you, a lot of these guys are superstars in their own right, and they have taken care of business. It's just that I know a lot of guys looking back at the fights that they had with Izzy are smacking themselves on the head saying, damn, I should have took him down. You know, I shouldn't have fought his ego and stood there and tried to exchange with him. You know, like Whitaker. Whitaker, I guarantee you Whitaker is like, man, I should have took this dude down. You know, sometimes pride can keep you on your feet and you want to exchange with the man. You're like, man, all right, I'll beat you like this. And you shouldn't have did that. You know, these guys should have cornered him off, took a couple of his strikes, and pinned him up against the cage, grabbed his legs, scooped him up, slammed him on the ground every fucking round. You know, and I don't think Israel would have been able to get up every single time. He might have got up once or twice, you know, because he does possess some kind of wrestling skills, but not consistently enough where that he was fatigued and he would be able to focus and maintain and not make mistakes on the ground because he's not as fluent on the ground. Izzy would have to think his way out of situations on the ground, and if you put him in those tight situations over and over and over, he'll be tired, fatigued, and he won't be thinking clearly. He'll make a mistake, and a natural wrestler will choke his ass the fuck out. That's what will happen. I know it will. I know it for a fact. I know it for a fact. And look, you know, you guys let me know what you think about the fight. Look, Khamzat won the fight. I'm not mad about it. I'm not saying that he's not good. I'm not saying that the judges got it wrong. But I'm not saying any of that. I'm not saying any of that. I mean, the fight could went exactly the way the judges saw it. You know, I'm just saying that shouts out to Usman. You know, taking the fight on 10 days notice and putting up this kind of performance. Only on 10 days notice, you guys are arguably talking about that this guy is the next best great thing. And a guy came in on 10 days notice and took him 3 rounds like that and almost won the fight against him. But yet, this guy is the best, Khamzat Chimaev. But a guy can come in on 10 days notice and give him that kind of fight. So, pump your brakes. That's all I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? The guy's good. I give him his credit. I give him his respect. And these motherfuckers in the UFC better beat this man now before he gets any better than what he already is. Because Khamzat Chimaev is a problem. He is a problem. And if he's this good with only this much ring experience, you know, he hasn't been in the UFC long, okay? And he's made a pretty big name for himself already. Dana White knows it like I know it. He's not championship material, and if you want that guy to hold the belt for a long time and make a lot of money off of him, you gotta make him a championship fighter. You have to make him a 5-round fighter. He is not a 5-round fighter right now. Not right now. Okay? He almost didn't make it out that 3rd round with Usman. Okay, so yeah, Dana White knows it like I know it. Okay, he needs a little bit more work. He could win the belt. He could win the belt. If he wins the belt in the first 2-3 rounds, he can win that belt. But maintaining it and fighting against guys that are top tier, Dana White saw it like I saw it. If you get a guy that can sustain his attack, like Usman did, you get a guy that can sustain his attack and is on his level, he's going to have to go to the 5 rounds. And if you got a guy that is just even with him like that, he's not going to make it. And that's what Dana White is concerned with, and that's what I'm concerned with, and that's what a lot of you guys should be concerned with. So, let me know what you guys think about it. I said that out of the 2 fighters, that Alexander Volkanovski would look like he was in better shape. He didn't appear to be the one in the better shape. He addressed that he had a new baby, a lot of things going on. He didn't really prepare the way he wanted to. I think pride had him take this fight more than anything. Usman looked to be the one in better shape out of the 2 individuals. Although we didn't see Alex Volkanovski's gas tank, but for the first time in my life, I saw him take a deep breath in the first round. I saw him a little nervous, a little timid. Like, not timid to the point where that he was scared of him. He was a little timid because I think in that moment he felt that his body wasn't responding the way he wanted it to. He wasn't as fluent like he usually was, his movements. And I think it dawned on him in the moments in the round. He was like, wow, I really am not turning it up like I should be in the first round. And I think he was a little bit colder, and it took him by surprise. Every athlete comes into their career or a point in their career where they think that their skills are always going to show up. And they don't think that, the lack of their training or anything was going to show up on that night. But it did. It showed up on that night, and Alex Volkanovski, he didn't look like himself. Although, he was Alex Volkanovski. Nurmagomedov threw that head kick 3 or 4 times in that round, and he already knew it was coming. It just goes to show that at the end of the closing of the round, he was fatigued to a level that he wasn't normally accustomed to in a first round. He was always feeling fresh as a daisy coming out of the first round. When he got kicked with that head kick, he was just in the middle of, go look at the fight. Look at his expression on his face. And he was just like, man, this is not like, it didn't seem like it was working for him. And then he got caught. He got caught by a vicious head kick. There's not too many men on planet Earth that can take a kick like that. Did you see his eye? Split him right open. He caught him straight across all the side of his forehead, and he caught the top of his eyebrow like this. And then when he dropped him on the floor, he split him right here. He kept him dazed. He didn't give enough time for Alexander to clear his mind at all. He kept that spinning shot. He kept him pinned against the cage, and he kept punching him in the face, and he kept his head spinning. That was the right thing to do. That's a finish. Hats off to Nurmagomedov for securing the victory. But I know Alex Volkanovski right now, the competitor that he is, man, he was hurt. His pride is hurt. I've seen men like that. I know men like that. He is hurt right now. He is crying in his house. Alex Volkanovski right now is crying out of rage. He is so mad at himself right now, because he knew he shouldn't have took this fight, because he wanted this fight again, but he didn't want to give this kind of performance. And that's what hurts. The money will make you take the fight. You have a family to provide for. I get it. But he was really truly hurt. He's hurt behind this. He wanted to do better, than what he did. And for the first time getting knocked out in his career, shit. You know, no man wants to do that. So I understand where Alex is right now, but Alex is just gonna take it out on the 145. That's what's gonna happen. Everybody on the one. If I was Max Holloway right now, I would not fight him. Not right now. Let him fight a couple fights, and then I'll fight you. But don't be the next guy off of him getting knocked out with Nurmagomedov. Don't be that next guy. I'm trying to tell you something. Whoever signs against Alexander Volkanovski next to fight him at 145, be ready, be prepared. Be prepared, because that man is coming out on a vengeance. That little dude is something else. I'm trying to tell you. So that's what I got for you, UFC fight fans. I hope you like my video. Please like, subscribe to the channel, comment on the video, and let me know what you think. I'm on to the next one. Peace.